Hello, I hope everybody's doing good. So, I just thought it would be a nice gesture to do this recording and try to offer some quick information in a bite sized piece. I know I've pretty much spoken with almost all of you via phone call, and I felt like because of what we were dealing with and how uncertain things are getting, that you would want to hear from me. And now I feel you probably want to hear from me a little bit more. So, I heard a couple of concerns, not a lot, but one or two questions that I feel it would be necessary to give some insight to and then share with all of you in general so that I can get as much information as possible out quickly. So here's what we're seeing on ground so far, right? But for starters, um, we have had about 95% of the tenants paying to pay. So this is mid-month April. Tomorrow is April 15th. And all of you have your statements now for the month of March. And you have a snapshot of where we are in April. It's a lot of work to do those two, but I feel it gives you an idea of how you're doing or how your property is doing in the middle of the month, while you're also seeing how you did or how your property fared the previous month. So we had in general about 95% of the tenants pay in full for the month of April. And we're very blessed to be able to say that. We had about one or two that didn't make full payments. They made some payment, but it wasn't full. That is a great thing. And they're hopefully in about a week should have a plan for how the remainder of that will be paid, give or take. I say give or take because the unemployment benefits that have to kick in if people lost their jobs or had reduced hours, and then hopefully the stimulus check comes in. Now, with that comes the plan for May. What is going to happen for May? So I'm still keeping tabs with the tenants slash the families to know what to expect. For those of you who have properties with Section 8, which is a government assisted housing, then you have nothing to worry about because that payment is going to come in. The government is not. The government has the money. Hello, they're giving us $2 billion in the economy to help. So, Section 8 is going to still continue with giving out with paying rents. As far as the private market or the private market tenants, what we call them, then come end of April, beginning of May. I'll see if anything has changed. Now, because I'm in communication with them, they will let me know. The plan is to let me know if anything, if they feel anything is going to change or anything is changed in the month of April. So hopefully, we stay the same way where everybody is able to come to the table with something. And all I ask, like I've shared with you one-on-one, is that we work with those tenants. We don't have anyone right now that is up for eviction or anything like that. I mean, eviction is a tactic that you have to use, but they've asked in general around the country that housing providers kind of put a pause to evictions, you know, but that's not to say that landlords will not have their day in court. They will. So I'm just saying my approach is always to try to see how much can we get before we bring the hammer on the tenants. And these are very trying times, so we do want to show some sort of understanding and compassion because they're in the property and they can actually cause a lot of damage if you don't pedal carefully. And I think the general consensus that each of you gave me was that yes, there's full understanding for that. So I thank you very much for that. That really does help. Going forward, what to expect. So I would say we just have to see how this thing plays out, really. We don't have any indications of a crash that occurred in 2008. And I'm being very careful to say that I was practicing real estate when the crash happened in 2008. And I had gotten into the business in 2005. So I could see the clear difference. But in this time frame, what is very different is we do not have those subprime mortgages that were circulating heavily back then. We don't have that now. With the regulations that kicked in after the crash, I mean, banks and lending practices have really been monitored. and we already had a housing shortage, inventory shortage before COVID-19. So builders were already having a hard time supplying housing, and there were not a lot of houses on the market. So um, I would say just layman's understanding and just kind of looking around and watching trends and reading reports and dissecting information is we're not in the same climate that we were as far as housing goes, uh, comparing 2008 to now, COVID-19 time. Okay. So going forward, I'll put it like this. If you were ever thinking you wanted to sell, then we need to put your house on the market and explore that now. Prices are not dropping. House prices are not dropping. We're still maintaining the same prices that we saw pre-COVID-19. Um, People are buying, people are selling, and people are renting. So there, nothing has changed in that dynamics. Now, of course, I'm not saying that everything is rosy. People have lost jobs. People have had their hours reduced or jobs completely eliminated. And those industries really are like restaurants of food in that aspect, eating out, the food restaurant section, hospitality, some travel, entertainment. But other industries are buoyant: education, healthcare, technology. You still so, and businesses that are built around that. So you still have that the strength from those industries still underway. So I would say if you didn't have any plans to sell, then just hang tight. Don't do anything drastic. Housing is still going to be a necessity. We've been told that, right? The basic needs: food, shelter, and clothing, right? If I'm not mistaken, economists help me. And this is housing. And if any asset worked and has been working, it's housing. Everybody had to be holed up in a house, has to be in a house, some form of shelter at this time. So, um, if you've been thinking of buying, I would say wait a little bit. Give it like another 30 to 60 days. Let's see what happens. For any of the unfortunate homeowners that may have to put their house on the market, if they don't see anything change due to maybe a loss in employment or something, then you'll be able to take advantage of that. Unfortunately, that may happen where people are not able to recover as fast, especially if this drags on for too long. So I just say let's watch it. Let's see how everything plays. In the meantime, we'll work on just collecting rent as best and as swift as we can. That may take some creative ways to collect. So if that should happen to your property, then I'm just asking that you kind of understand, depending on what kind of strategy we have to deploy. Other than that, I want to thank you so much for your support. Thank you guys. You're always reachable. I really appreciate that. It makes my work a lot easier, especially since I have to interface not only with you, but with the tenants as well. There are still maintenance issues and repairs that are coming up, and we've had to find a way to work around that, especially with COVID-19 and safety and precaution and things of that nature. So we're also having to, watch how we tread. Last thing I want to share is my brokerage is would like to partner with some of the organizations around Atlanta in terms of feeding, getting food and essentials to like the elderly and stuff like that. But before we do that, or in addition to that, we're also giving to the tenants. So I'd like to invite you, if you want to match what I'm giving to each of the families, then please let me know. It could be anything from as little as a $20 grocery card, $20 gas card, to like a $50 grocery card. And that just is a little gesture, but I've come to find out that that goes a long way in lifting their spirits and knowing that somebody is thinking about them and is caring for them. Because trust me, that translates to them being not only feeling loved and appreciated, but then that also, it's like a ripple effect. And they know that the landlord is not just after their rent, but they'll also think about, okay, this person took care of me, I might as well take care of them. And trust me, sometimes if that's the difference between not wanting to pay rent or trying to be mean or irresponsible, 50% of the time, at least you're guaranteed that they will give it a second thought. So if you'd like to partner with me, please let me know. In doing that, if you want to match whatever it is I'm giving, or if you have an amount you just want to say, hey Sandra, take this and use it for groceries, that would be splendid. Until my next recording, I hope that you stay safe. Okay, and yes, this too shall pass. Bye.